I was the kind of person who was all about the to-do list. I mean, it's not that I loved my to-do list. It's just that I wanted to check everything off. I wanted to have all my ducks in a row. I wanted to have everything organized and everything beautiful and, everything perfect. I was definitely a perfectionist. And in that, I would spend so much time on all these things that weren't actually moving business. And so Gigi said to me, she said, you have to get out there and focus 80% of your time on getting out in front of people, talking to people, doing activities that are actively going to bring in business.
Welcome to The Way of the Muse, a podcast for women who want to create richness in every area of their lives, from business and career to lifestyle, relationships, family, purpose, and fulfillment. I'm Gigi Sage.
And I'm Makena Sage. We're a mother-daughter coaching team, and combined, we've spent over 4 decades helping people create their best and most fully expressed lives. If you're ready to step into your bigger dreams with ease, fun, and flow, you're in the right place. Let's get into the episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 3rd episode in the mini business series that we're running right now. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the simplified 6-figure business strategy for heart-centered entrepreneurs. And then last week, we went into the multiple 6-figure roadmap. So how to break through your income plateau so you can really grow. And this week, we're going to get a little more specific. We're going to get dialed into how do you find clients? This is one of the number one questions that we get from clients when we are doing business coaching is how do I find clients without posting 24/7 on social media or without running paid ads? Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with either one of those strategies if it really, really works for you. But many of the people that work with us don't necessarily want to do that, or they've tried it and it hasn't worked for them. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I want to start by saying that I really love, my mom and I both, Gigi, who's my co-host on this podcast, we love helping women grow successful businesses. Many of our clients are also in careers, but the large majority are entrepreneurs. And so this is really a passion of ours. And it's a big part of my purpose because I feel that the more money women make, the more good they do in the world. It's just something I've seen again and again. And of course, it's a generalization, but I see that when women start to earn at a higher level and have more, financial freedom and more time freedom, they pour back into their families and their loved ones. They ignite their own creativity and innovation, right? They get excited and all kinds of new ideas come online. They donate to causes they believe in, and ultimately they make the world a better place. So money in the hands of women is a very, very good thing in my book. And the problem is that about 95% of women entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs that I talk to are confused and they're overwhelmed. So why is that? Well, they're bombarded, as we all are, by a million different messages about how to grow their business, about what it takes, about what strategy that they should be using. And they also might have a lot of ideas of their own, but then they're not sure where to start. So enter confusion and overwhelm. So today's episode is really, I want to talk about some things that I've learned in my 12 years plus as an entrepreneur now. And I've run 2 successful businesses in that time and helped a lot of other people build their own businesses. So I want to share a little bit about what, in my experience, you don't need to find clients and to grow your business. And then as a direct result of that, we'll talk about what you do need or what I've found to be really, really effective. Now, what I'm talking about is more for earlier stage businesses, I would say. As you grow, then you might diversify into some of these areas. So what I'm going to share here is a little bit more geared to earlier stage businesses, but I will say that a lot of these are true even as you're scaling. So I really thought at one point, I remember I was making 6 figures plus for many, many years. And then I started slowly to grow when I stepped into coaching, and then got to multiple six figures. And I got to this certain point of multiple six figures plus where I was like, okay, I feel like I've reached the point that I can reach with the way that I've approached it. And I must need more fancy marketing at this point, right? It's like, how do I add fuel to the fire? And so I went out there and hired ads experts, and I tried a whole bunch of different marketing strategies and poured a lot of money into that type of marketing. And it's not that it didn't work at all. We did get some clients that way. But in the end, when I looked at it all after, a couple of years, I really saw that maybe we had broken even or something like that. And it was a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of energy. Now, I'm not saying that's everyone's story, but I will say that, when we started to grow again, it came from doubling down on the things we're really good at. And so it didn't come from a whole bunch of fancy new things. Now, there are exceptions to this. There are times when you need or want to learn a new strategy. But the most important thing here is that you put everything through the filter of, is this really a fit for you? Is this a fit for you? What you're curious about, what brings you alive and makes you magnetic. And it's not that everything you do in your business is going to bring you alive and make you magnetic, but we are all unique snowflakes, as Gigi puts it. She says, we're all unique snowflakes. And so in that, there really isn't a one size fits all. So even everything I share with you today, I want you to feel into it, right? Run it through your own filter, not so much from your mind, but from your heart, your soul, your deeper knowing, your intuition, whatever you want to call that. So feel into, okay, does this resonate for me? Does this fit for me? And that's such a valuable skill as a business owner, because how do you start to cut through the confusion and overwhelm? Is you learn to listen inward and you learn to run something through your own checks, right? So when I see something online, someone says, this is the way to do something, or I believe this, then I can feel into that and go, does that feel true for me? Right? And sometimes something might trigger me and then I realize like, oh, maybe there's room for me to grow here. Maybe there's room for me to expand my perspective. But in general, though, I can fairly quickly now see like, oh, does that strategy or that approach or that coach resonate with me, or does it really not feel like the right fit intuitively? So that's a whole lot to share as kind of a precursor, but I do want you to keep some of these things in mind as we go through today. It's also why we don't teach a whole lot of strategy in the coaching that we do. We teach, it depends on the stage of business. I would say for the earlier stage of business, we do teach some skills. There are some really important business skills for you to learn. And then really we support people to come to their own clarity, right? To see what's really right for them. Then take these skills, and maybe there's some different strategies we teach or other people teach, and then to really find what's that right one and to go for it. And so much of this is about your own clarity, your own focus and determination, your excitement for what you do, and really putting yourself out there. So here's what you don't need to find clients and grow your business. I'm going to tell you 10 things. And I actually came up with this writing an email that's going to go out to our list soon. So maybe a small number of you have heard this already, but we're going to go deeper here. So you don't need paid ads to grow your business or to find clients. It's not to say again that there aren't people that this works great for. There's many people who use paid advertising, and especially at a certain stage in business, which is quite large, when you're in the 7 to multiple 7-figure range, then at that point, we're talking about real scale. And that's where things like paid ads can often start to make more sense. There are people that are smaller that are successful with paid ads, but it's a whole rabbit hole. And for most people that work with us, it's not the strategy that they really lean into. And the main point I want to make is that you don't need it. You don't need it to build a 6 or a multiple 6-figure business, and even a 7-figure business. Many of our clients have 7-figure businesses without paid advertising. that's number one. Number two, you don't need a social media manager. Now, there may come a point at which you choose to hire one, but a lot of people think they need this way before they actually do. And so that can be a huge expense. And when we really look at how many clients are coming in from their social media, often that number is fairly low. So you don't need somebody that you pay to manage your social media. You can keep your social media pretty simple. In fact, that leads me to number three, which is you don't need to post daily on social media necessarily. There's so much content out there these days. You're going to have a hard time standing out just by volume, right? Just by posting a lot on social media. But a lot of times that's what people think they need to do. Now, of course, the algorithms do like it if you post more often. But again, you need to really take this in the larger context of your strategy and go, is social media a big part of the strategy that I feel fits for me, that I want to align myself behind and really go for? And social media is a broad term. If that's true for you, you probably want to pick a particular platform and really double down on that, really learn that platform. There are definitely people out there, again, that are doing this and that are building the large majority of their business through social media. But many of the people who end up coming to us, it's not their primary desire. And many people are building very successful businesses without having little to no social media. So I just want you to know that that's possible if that's the right fit for you. All right, number 4, you don't need a fancy branding photo shoot. Now, I am the queen of photo shoots, as some of you know. I love, love, love to do creative, professional photo shoots. I've been doing them for many, many years, starting way back when I would just trade or, do different things to be able to afford to do those photo shoots. And over the years have progressed into being able to invest in those photo shoots. But I love them. I do multiple shoots a year, but I don't need them to grow my business. That's something I do because it's something I'm passionate about and it's fun. And sure, it gets attention in terms of people take notice and they think it's beautiful or creative or whatever they think, but it's not the thing that really drives my business or moves it forward. So you can totally have a successful business without any fancy paid photo shoots. You could do videos that you do yourself. You could go out with a friend and get some pictures done. Or again, you don't need social media necessarily at all. So just keeping in mind that this is not a necessity in order to grow. You don't need an expensive website. For that matter, you may not even need a website at all. And a lot of people balk at this one when I first say it. But the truth is, a website is like a business card for most entrepreneurs. It's something that is nice to have, and it's great to have a place that people can go to find out a little bit more about you and how to contact you. So having something there can be good, but it really doesn't need to be fancy. It really doesn't need to be that until a later stage of business. And then if you want to do that, you want to invest the time, money, and energy into that, great. So most people put way too much attention and money and energy into their branding, their website, their photos early on in their business, when the truth is they're just not there yet. It's just not time for that yet. And when the time comes, you'll know it. You'll have an abundance of clients. You'll have a lot of business coming in and you'll feel like, ooh, this really doesn't, the simple page I have up really doesn't match with the brand that, the business I'm running anymore. These days too, you can do something so simple with a template and you don't need to have something, again, professionally designed. You can go on Squarespace or go on any of these build it yourself kind of website templates, find a template you like, put a simple about, a little bit about your offerings, and then just to contact me. Very, very easy, and you don't need to spend a lot of time on it. You also don't need, this is number 6 now, quote unquote, passive online programs, all right, to find more clients and grow your business. This is something that when people tell me I want to build passive income through my online programs, I have been in this industry for my entire career, all 12 years, because I was on the marketing side before. And then I came over to kind of the coaching well, not kind of the coaching. I came over to the coaching side. So in those years, I have been behind the scenes in lots of different businesses, ranging from early stage to multiple seven figures and beyond. And I've run my own business for many years now in this space. And what I've seen is that online programs are not passive. They can bring in money while you sleep. That's true. But the engine that it takes to be bringing clients in that are purchasing those programs on a continuous basis is far from passive. In fact, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, sometimes a lot of team, depending on how you do it. And so there's really not much that's passive about it other than the fact that when that credit card goes through, cha-ching, then yeah, you might be in bed at that particular moment. But during the day, you're probably working pretty hard at filling those programs. So yes, if you don't want to do a lot of actual coaching or fulfillment or working with people, it is something you may want to consider as you get further along in your business and you have enough clients that it saves you time. We do have online programs that are self-study now, or that are a mix where it's like you can go through it on your own and you can get some hours of coaching with me or with us. So that works really well. But just keeping in mind that you don't need it to grow. And in fact, most people who are trying to do this pretty early, it's not the most effective way to grow. All right, coming to number 7, you do not need a huge audience to find clients or to grow a successful business. You really don't. Of course, that's a path, but I know many people who build huge audiences and then don't have paying clients because these are audiences that are used to free content, let's say. So a large audience does not necessarily mean somebody is making good money. And so in terms of having a sustainable business, the two don't necessarily go hand in hand. Now, of course, it's helpful if you have a larger audience, especially if they're the right kind of audience and they are trained to sort of purchase and invest with you. So that's a whole other conversation, but just know that you don't need it in order to create a 6-figure or multiple 6-figure business or even bigger than that. You do not need a pushy sales process. So when I tell people they need to learn sales in order to really have a successful business, especially, well, I think at any stage of business, this is a really powerful skill to have. A lot of people balk, and they balk because they think about pushy sales tactics. They think about the used car salesman kind of cliche or other experiences they've had that have been negative sales experiences. But I want you to think about, have you ever had a really great sales experience? Have you ever really enjoyed buying something or being assisted by a salesperson to purchase something? I hope you have, because there are some amazing ones out there, and that can be a really beautiful experience. So in that, sales does not need to be some pushy, annoying process. It can be something you really enjoy. Perhaps you've even been blessed to have a great experience with something related to, let's say, coaching or something that has a longer sales process. And, you really felt heard through the whole experience. You felt nurtured, connected, understood. And then it was a great, maybe they supported you to move through your fears. And you were very happy to make the investment and very happy that you did. So I hope that you've had these experiences. And if you haven't, then there's some rewiring to do there. But just know that you do not need to have a pushy sales process. There is a way to do this. And I'm using coaching as an example because that's my industry, but this could be true in any industry. There is a way to do this that is heart-centered, that is authentic, and that is never pushy or salesy. All right, we're down to our last 2 now. You do not need a mile-long to-do list in order to find clients and grow your business. In fact, simplification is the key here. It is the key to growing. So many people are just so busy with a lot of things that aren't actually getting them results. It is one of the top things that I support people with and we support people with is narrowing down zooming in on what really, really works for you, what is going to move the needle. So you don't need to have a million things on your to-do list, or, you may have other things you need to do, but you get to them later once you're bringing in a lot of business, once you have a lot of clients coming through. So it's a trick our mind plays on us that says like, oh, I'm already so tired and I'm already so busy, I don't have time to do more. But the truth is, it's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things. Okay. Last but not least, you do not need to fully overcome your fear and your self-doubt. This one may surprise some of you because with women entrepreneurs especially, I see this is a huge stumbling block. Fear, self-doubt, thinking, I don't know if I have what it takes. Why would anyone listen to me? Why would people invest at that level? Will they invest at that level? Can I provide value? So many different versions of this, or I don't want to really put myself out there. So if fear and self-doubt comes up for you, then here's the little perspective shift I want to share with you, is that is normal. And it's not going to go away. Of course, it will diminish over time. It will reduce over time. The more practiced you get at something and the more, you're putting yourself out there, the more you're taking those steps, you will have less fear and less self-doubt. But so many people are sitting around waiting for their fear and self-doubt to magically disappear, for them to mindset their way out of it before they take the action. And it just doesn't work that way. You take the action. You can do the mindset work too. I'm a huge fan. But you take the action, you walk with your fear, and over time, the fear starts to diminish. And over time, the self-doubt starts to lessen. And one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel pretty confident at this. But then you go to grow in some other area and all that fear and self-doubt comes up, because whenever we're going outside of our comfort zones, fear and self-doubt are a part of the process. Okay, so covered a lot in a short period of time here. But I did want to give that high-level overview, because even though there is a time and a place for some of these, and every business is different, like we talked about, the truth is there is a much simpler path to the growth and financial freedom that you want. And so I'm going to share what that is now, kind of my high-level overview. I've touched on some pieces of it. And this is really, I'm making this broader about growing your business, but it is also about finding clients. So I'm going to break down for you, what do you really need to do to find clients without posting on social media 24/7 and without, I can't remember the other one, paid ads. All right. So number 1, eliminate distractions and busy work. So this is where you really want to zero in on what is really going to move the needle to get you results. Then you want to focus 80% of your time and your energy there, whatever time and energy you have available, to be working on your business, and then watch the magic happen. What do I mean by this? Most people are spending 80% of their time doing things that are bringing in maybe 20% of their results. This is the 80-20 principle. I believe it's called the Pareto principle. So that doesn't work that well, but it's what we get caught up in doing. We don't take a step back to really go, what really moves the needle here, or what is going to move the needle? And you might have to test some things and try some things to see, but you want to eliminate as many distractions as possible. When I was really stepping into coaching, and Gigi, my mentor and business partner, started mentoring me, she had to work with me so much on this, because I was the kind of person who was all about the to-do list. I mean, it's not that I loved my to-do list. It's just that I wanted to check everything off. I wanted to have all my ducks in a row. I wanted to have everything organized and everything beautiful and, everything perfect. I was definitely a perfectionist. And in that, I would spend so much time on all these things that weren't actually moving business. And so Gigi said to me, she said, you have to get out there and focus 80% of your time on getting out in front of people, talking to people, doing activities that are actively going to bring in business. And then you'll start making money to a point where you can hire support and get a team. And, a lot of things become possible when your business is growing and money is moving. So that was a big wake-up call for me. And it took me a long time to learn this lesson. And I still get to remind myself at times. But anytime I have a to-do list, I flip it and I go, what are the income generating activities? What are the things that are going to get me connected to people? And those are the most important things. Everything else comes secondary. So I want to say that I have very successful clients, or, clients who have built very successful businesses that have started at just 10 to 15 hours a week. And so sometimes people say to me, like, I don't know how I'm going to ever do this. I'm working a full-time job. And yeah, that's going to be a lot when you're working a full-time job to put in that 10 hours or whatever it might be for you a week. But that's the starting point. And then you do that for a while, you start to build up your results. You're in a position to maybe go to part-time or to, move out of that job and go to something else that is part-time, and then to transition completely. Or maybe it even happens faster than that. So just know that eliminating distractions of busy work is going to save you time. And also you can build your business, or at least for the first stage of really getting it off the ground and running, and it doesn't need to be a full-time thing. All right, number 2, once you've eliminated distractions and busy work, then you want to create your client cultivation flow. So what is a client cultivation flow? This is what I call the process that you take people through from meeting someone, let's say at a party or a networking event or even online, and, or somebody introducing you to them. What's the process you take someone through to go from just meeting them to actually enrolling them as a client? There is a flow to this, and there should be a flow to this, in the sense of, it's very rarely just going to happen like that. And it can, and especially as you grow and you have more of a reputation, then this may happen more quickly. But in the beginning, and for most businesses, at those early to medium stages, there needs to be a process in place here where you're warming people up, where you're getting to know them, where they're getting to know, like, and trust you, and you're taking them through a process here. It's not just willy-nilly kind of made up in the moment. And so this is one of the big things we teach our clients, is how do you create that client cultivation flow? So you know exactly what you're doing. You're not floundering. You're not losing people, because this is the analogy I always use is, imagine a bucket, and this is the bucket where you're going to, like, all your clients are going to come into. So clients, money, it's all going to come into this bucket. So you have this beautiful bucket. You're so excited. Hopefully you didn't spend too much time on the website for the bucket, but it's beautiful. You're ready. You've got your services, your offerings. And so you go out there and you're like, I need to get in front of more people. So you're doing networking events or your whatever strategy you're using. And lots of people are coming into this bucket, in the sense that you're meeting a lot of people and you think, oh, these would be great clients. But somehow you're not actually getting clients or making money. And you're like, this is so weird. I need to get out and meet more people. And so you're getting out there and you're catching up with old friends and you're doing all kinds of things. And more people are coming in. And, like, occasionally you get a client, but mostly you're not. And you're like, what is going on here? So in this story, you look at the bottom of the bucket and you notice there's holes in the bottom of the bucket. And this is what happens when you don't have a client cultivation flow in place. You're bringing a lot of people in, potentially, hopefully you are, or getting in front of people, and you may even have opportunities to have conversations with them, but because you don't have this flow in place, they're leaking out the bottom of the bucket. When you have a client cultivation flow in place, then you know how to guide them through this process. And some are going to still go because it's not a fit for them or it's not the right time, but many more of them are going to be staying in that bucket and having a beautiful experience working with you. So that's a little bit about what that's all about. So you want to eliminate distractions and busy work. Then you want to have a clear process you take people through here that really works, that's proven, but also customized to you, and that works for you and for your industry. then, only then, once you have the leaks filled in your bucket, then do you go out and start looking for clients. And here is where I want to say, you start by focusing on your network and your extended network first. So what does that mean? This doesn't mean you have to go sell to your close family and friends. It's not what I'm talking about. But think about, you probably know a lot of people that are not your closest people. If you drew circles on a piece of paper, you have your inner circles, like your very, very close friends or family, and then you have a circle out from there, which is like, okay, kind of more extended friends, let's say. And then you have a circle out from there, which is like, I don't know, people you went to college with, you're not in touch with anymore, people from other jobs, people you met that one time at a party. So you have a bigger network than you probably think. If you went through your social media accounts, your phone, all these different things, you would be like, oh, I actually know a fair number of people. Maybe not well, maybe we haven't talked in a while. And that's where the client cultivation flow comes in, and different ways of approaching people to spark a connection again and see if it's going to go anywhere. But there is so much opportunity waiting in the wings of your network. In fact, I usually tell people, and this is absolutely true in my experience, for most people that I work with, let's say 8 out of 10 people that I work with, there's at least 6 figures to multiple 6 figures worth of revenue waiting in their warm network. And that might even be a very low estimate, right? But I would say they could build a 6-figure to a multiple 6-figure business purely through their warm network, at least 6 figures, at least for a time, right? Because then through that, they're going to be working with those people, and then those people are going to refer people. So it grows. So you don't need to get out there and do a ton of stuff necessarily to get in front of a ton of new people. This is instead doing things like having catch-up calls or coffees with people, maybe hosting small gatherings or events, making lists of people and really being strategic about, connecting with them, but not connecting with them and trying to sell everyone something, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants to just like come to your gathering and then you're trying to sell them your program, right? Sometimes that might be appropriate, but most of the time you need that client cultivation flow. You need a process you take people through so they can sort of self-select into the next step every step of the way. And this is what most people are missing. From there, once you really feel like, okay, I'm tapping into my extended network, I'm doing a lot with that. I'm talking to people, I'm reaching out to people, I'm having gatherings, whatever that is for you. Only then would I say to start casting a wider net. And you want to do this in a way that works for you. My recommendation is to keep this really simple. Don't go out and try 10 different strategies, because you're going to halfway do every strategy and you're just going to be frustrated and overwhelmed. Instead, you want to pick one strategy to start. So outside of your core network, and this is what we teach a lot of our clients, is starting there. Outside of that, you want to pick one other strategy, and that's it. For a while, you test it out. This could be something like, I'm going to attend events where my ideal client would be hanging out. I'm going to attend lots of events, and I'm going to continue just working with my network I have and then the people I'm meeting at these events. It could be, I really want to go for getting booked on podcasts. So I'm going to make that my strategy. I'm going to test that out for 3 months or 6 months, really get great at that, speak on a lot of podcasts that my ideal clients listen to, and see if it really works. It could be speaking, getting out in front of other people's audiences. This is different than hosting your own events. It's really, I want to get out in front of other people's groups and things like that and share my message. And then there needs to be, again, an invitation process and a client cultivation flow to take them through to the next step, to know, like, and trust you even more, and then hopefully say yes to working with you. So whatever you choose here with this wider net, you want to pick something that fits with your aliveness. You want to pick something that really works for you. And that is like, people used to come to me when I was on online marketing and they would say, I think I need to do, a video series. And I would say, okay, do you have a curiosity about being on video? Do you like being on video? And they'd be like, oh my God, no, I hate it. I have no interest. And I'd be like, okay, something's not quite lining up here. And they'd be like, but everybody's doing it. And they say that's what you really need. And I would say, well, yes, it can be effective, but if you hate it and you're not even, it's not just like you're scared, but you kind of are curious. It's like, no, it's not my thing. Then it's probably not the best direction for you, right? It's probably not the one we want to focus on. There's a lot of different things you could be doing. And so I say the same thing to you is like, what are you curious about? Even if it scares you, because a lot of things are going to scare you in the earlier stages of your business, how are you really curious to grow? And what would be a way that you want to put yourself out there more? So those are the 4 steps that we're going to really focus on today in terms of attracting more clients, finding more clients, and then actually enrolling them to grow your business, eliminating distractions and busy work, creating your client cultivation flow, focusing on your network and your extended network first, and then casting a wider net with one strategy to start. So if you would like to go deeper, because I know, we covered a lot today, but we also weren't able to go deeply into some of these areas in terms of, well, what is a client cultivation flow, right? How do I eliminate these distractions and things? I feel like everything is something I have to be doing. I do have a class coming up. It's coming up in just, I think, a few days or a week or so at the time of this recording. And it's called Focus and Flow. It's a 2-day online live business training. And that is where we're really going to go through a lot of these different pieces of what is the 20% that gets you 80% of results, or that will get you 80% of results? How do you move through overwhelm to really see what to focus on? What are your financial goals? What's the plan for you to really reach them? We're going to go through heart-centered, authentic sales and really teaching some things around that and practicing it. So it's going to be a really powerful weekend, and it's just 2 kind of half days. And we will take breaks. If you can't come to all the sessions, I still recommend signing up. You'll get the replays, but come to as many as you can live. So that is January 25th and 26th. And if you go to wayofthemuse.com/focus, then you could read all about it. And I have for our podcast listeners, a special promo code for you, which is the word podcast. So when you go and you sign up, you'll see have a coupon code on the sign up page. Make sure you look for it. Have a coupon code. I think it's on the bottom right if you're on your computer, or maybe at the bottom if you're on your phone, and just type in the word podcast, all caps, and it'll give you $50 off whatever the current pricing is. So there's kind of tiered pricing. It starts out low and it's going up every few days. So be sure to check that out. I would love, love, love to see you there. And I would love to hear any questions you have from the call today. If you can come to the class, then I'll do coaching live on those questions. And if you can't, then feel free to email us at support@wayofthemuse.com with questions, with feedback, with ahas, what's really working for you. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next week.
That's our episode for today, but let's not make it the end of our love story. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and think of some women in your life you'd love to share it with. And if you want to learn more about our events and programs, visit wayofthemuse.com. See you next time.